Next up, we've got another more unknown brand called Moral Code. Again, viewers wanted us to review them. I've got that Brayson model, which is a penny loafer that costs $228.
Okay. My model is called the Holden. It's in a color they call cognac, which, as you can see, is sort of a tan color. It's a Derby shoe. It's wing-tipped. It's got broguing. And this one retails for $198.
Okay. So what do you think? First impressions when you got the shoe?
Right. Well, I thought generally I wasn't super enthused about these, if I'm to be honest.
Yeah.
Some of the models on the Moral Code website are a little bit more fashion forward. They're kind of a more modern brand. So I tried to find something that was a bit more classically inspired. I settled on this wingtip Derby. I don't know. I'm not crazy about quite how the broguing looks on these, just whether it's the size of the holes themselves.
Yeah, they're quite big, right? Like huge holes, and there's no medallion.
Right, and I thought that was a little bit odd. Yeah. Definitely it'll make the shoe unique, but I think the lack of the medallion there, it does seem like something is missing.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. It's also the last is kind of funny. It's round. There's quite a bit in a toe box. I thought the Brayson I got was a much more kind of classically styled loafer. The funny thing was it was advertised as not your grandpa's loafer. But if I look at those, I mean, they have a round last, you know, the leather looked very shiny and thicker. Like, I think a grandpa could wear this loafer, right?
I think that is probably a very apt description. The finishes of both of these, yours especially with how shiny they are, but I think with mine too, the impression I got is that however they finished the leather, it just ended up on first sight kind of looking a little bit cheap to me, frankly.
And I mean, this is a shoe, it's Goodyear welted, but it's made in India, right? So I mean, they have lots of cows and stuff there. So, but the tannery is maybe not up to snuff compared to Italian, English, or German or French tanneries. And frankly, I mean, it's kind of made to look like almost like a shell cordovan, right? Also in terms of the color. But the leather is really stiff. It's supposed to be a calf leather, but it's just treated so heavily. It looks like coated. Like you can't really see the fine pores as you can see on, let's say, a Mermin, for example, which is also burgundy. It's a nice comparison. So yeah, definitely kind of a ding on the leather in my book. I mean, yours doesn't seem to be as stiff.
It's not quite finished in the same way, and I think it will, as I at least tested it preliminarily, it did stand up to creasing a bit more, but it seems like you've already got a fair amount of creasing on the top of yours here.
Absolutely, and that's the thing, if you have very stiff leather, it's much more and if it's coated, it's much more likely to get visible creases very quickly. Like patent leather or so, it's hard to not get creases. It's just not possible. Yeah, and on the website they call it premium calf skin. Looking at this, I can definitely say it's not premium calf skin, right?
I think that's fair, yep.
So what about workmanship? What do you think?
Well, I didn't really see any grievous errors in terms of the stitching, at least. Everything seemed to be fairly consistent there.
Same with me. It's all good. Like here in the back, the stitching, it's all very neat. I mean, your broguing there seems all very kind of centered in a way. It's not off or anything.
All very uniform. But at the same time, some of the leather that was chosen for the different parts of the shoe, there is, right out of the box here, there's already some scuffing that I'm seeing with it and some areas of slight blemishing or color variance. So even right from out of the box, there were some of those things that I noticed as well.
Got it. Maybe like a little quality control issue. Okay. So the sizing, I got them in a 10.5, and that's plenty big. They're roomy in the heel, almost too much in the left one. But just looking at them, looking at the leather out of the box, I felt like this is going to be an uncomfortable shoe. And it turned to be more comfortable than I would have thought it would be. You can definitely feel that the leather is stiffer. but it's not an elongated last. It's round. There is some room in there. It's not too roomy. So in that regard, it works. Of course, we have that. It's a loafer. It's more difficult to fit, especially for me with a slim heel. I mean, generally, it's very hard for me to find loafers that fit because of my slim heel.
Right.
And when I do, I usually get more of them. These ones are okay, not fantastic.
Right. I would say that as far as fit is concerned for me, I would have roughly the same comments. I got the size 8.5, and they seem to fit fairly well. But again, that's because you have the added benefit of being able to lace them down as tightly or as loosely as you want to. There was just the slightest amount of rubbing on my bone with these, but not to the extent of some of the other offerings.
Got it.
I
So
think
it's lower.
After a slight break-in period, that would probably go away more and more too.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, they're Goodyear welted. Goodyear welted are generally a little stiffer. These are pretty soft for Goodyear welted on the sole. So it's a little break-in period, I'd say. The upper leather, I think, will never get really soft. You'll just get creases and they'll be softer and it'll work. Yeah, so I mean, overall, I think, $228 for a Goodyear welted shoe, all leather lined, is a pretty good price.
Yep.
It's a little stiff, but in terms of comfort, if it works for your foot, to me, they're more like a 3.25 out of 5 stars. Maybe 3.5 even on a good day, maybe, depending on the last and the fit. But you can see slight deficiencies, with the broguing size, the styling. It's a little not super classic, and you can see that. This, on the other end, I mean, it's classic as it gets in terms of the look. You can see like the leather, they have a seam here and a seam here. That means their leather usage is better. They can get more pieces out of the hide. Right. Not something you typically see in high-end shoes. So yeah, not a high-end shoe,
right,
but it is also just $228 for a Goodyear welt.
Yep, and given that these were just $198, I think it was a fairly decent value for what you're getting. It's a Goodyear welted shoe, as you said. These are unremarkable, maybe not the greatest looking shoe in the world, but I would say just slightly above average. I gave them a 3 out of 5.
Good.